Hello, viewers. You're welcome to our lecture series on biological techniques. Earlier, we had looked at various techniques for the collection of insects and arachnids, such as the use of hand, the use of aspirator, and the use of the various collecting nets like the aerial nets, the sweep nets, and the aquatic nets. We also looked at the use of traps like the pitfall traps, the yellow pan traps, the paper band traps, the light traps, and many other techniques that have been discussed. In today's lecture, we'll look at how to preserve insects and arachnids. The preservation of insects and arachnids will be discussed in today's lecture. Now, the method for the preservation of insects depend on the types of insects or arachnids, their nature, whether they are soft-bodied or hard-bodied, and their sizes. Now, the nature of these insects and the arachnids, the nature, whether their exoskeleton is hard or it is soft, it determines the method that can be used to preserve them. That's to say that soft-bodied insects and arachnids are preserved in a different form from that of the hard-bodied insects. The techniques that are used to preserve soft-bodied insects are different from the techniques that are used to preserve hard-bodied insects and arachnids. Their sizes also determine the method that will be used. Hard-bodied large insects are preserved differently from small insects that have hard-bodied exoskeleton, that have hard exoskeleton. Now I want to look at preservation of soft-bodied insects and arachnids. How to preserve soft-bodied insects and arachnids. Many types of insects, including aphids, springtails, thrips, mayflies, or silverfish, and arachnids, are soft-bodied and cannot be pinned successfully. The same is true of many immature insects, such as caterpillars, beetle, and wasp larvae, and others. If placed on pins, most soft-bodied insects and arachnids will shrivel or decompose. Such insects and arachnids must be preserved in liquids, in rubber-stopped glass and glass vials. Now, these insects that are soft-bodied, since they are soft, they cannot be preserved with pinning, so they are preserved in liquids. They're preserved in liquids and rubber-stopped glass vials. Arachnids are always preserved in liquid or on microscope slides. The arachnids, like the spiders, the mites, are always preserved in liquid or on microscope slides, apart from the scorpions that are hard-bodied, that are preserved differently. However, prior to preserving soft-bodied specimens for the long term, their color must be fixed, or they may fade in some cases or blacken in others. So to prevent color changes, these insects must be fixed. The colors of these insects must be fixed. The fixing process prevents, reduces, or delays colors change. So when the color of the insect is fixed, it prevents color change or may reduce or delay the color change. Now I want to look at fixing. How are the insects fixed? The tissues and colors of soft-bodied insects and arachnids are fixed by killing the specimens in boiling water. The colors are fixed by killing the specimen in boiling water. For small specimens, simply dip them in boiling water for about 30 seconds and then transfer them to 70% alcohol. Use more extended periods for large-bodied insects and arachnids. Large-bodied insects and arachnids are fixed for a longer period of time, maybe up to 1 minute before they are being removed from the boiling water. That way, there won't be color change in these insects and arachnids. Now, want to look at the preservation of these soft-bodied insects and arachnids. The preservation of these soft-bodied insects and arachnids. Soft-bodied insects and arachnids are preserved in 70% ethyl alcohol. That's to say that in the mixture you have, in the solution you have 70% alcohol and 30% water. So they are preserved in 70% ethyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol can also be used, but with less success. The isopropyl can also be used to preserve these soft-bodied insects and arachnids, but it has lesser success. Thanks for watching. The next video will now be on the techniques for preserving hard-bodied insects and arachnids.